It's the start of a new season here at the Precision Racing League 2024 Season 3, already underway with many series getting their seasons off to the start. And now it's time for the final of our weekly series here at PRL. The MX-5 and GR86 series, followed by the Super Formula series. Double action on a Thursday night here on RaceSpotTV. And if you were here last season, you should be familiar with our voices from Super Formula. It's me, Reese Gardner. Mark Kalin is alongside me in the commentary box. And the man, the myth, the legend, Hugo Luis is behind the scenes pressing all of the buttons on the live streaming platform of your choice. What a fantastic start to this season this is going to be, Mark. We are racing at Winton Motor Raceway for the start of the GR86 and MX-5 series, this multi-class series featuring pretty close to production cars at a track I think they're very well suited to, but I'm not biased.
No, this should be a exciting race indeed, especially with turns 1 and 2 being that chicane with the big curves. You're going to see cars flying, getting up sideways, and it's going to be all kinds of topsy-turvy tonight with these GR86 cars and MX-5s. Looking forward to seeing who comes out on top and can tackle this wonderful beast of a track.
Indeed, we visit quite a big variety of circuits over the course of the GR86 and MX-5 schedule. Next week, we go to Oschersleben, which has certainly turned out to be one of my favorite tracks to broadcast from. We go to the mighty Nürburgring for round 3. Circuit de Lebanon is going to be a very interesting one. Lebanon, one of the shorter, twistier circuits on iRacing. Finishing things up with, after going to Europe for Motorland Aragon, we go to America, 4 rounds in a row in the United States at some of the best circuits the US has to offer.
Yeah, and I'm glad you were pronouncing those track names because I would have struggled there, Reese. A lot of those I'm not really familiar with, but looking forward to getting knowledgeable about them as the season goes along and as those races creep ever closer.
Yeah, indeed. The races are also brought to you by a brilliant roster of sponsors here at the Precision Racing League, starting with Advanced Sim Racing. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminium profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. All PRL members also get a 5% discount on ASR products using the Precision 5 coupon code. Go to advancedsimracing.com for more information. Racebox offers mid and high-end button boxes for sim racing enthusiasts, from the casual gamer up to the most meticulous sim racing driver. Competitively priced and carefully handcrafted, their button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. Visit raceboxsimracing.com and you can also get a 5% discount there using the Precision 5 coupon code. Butt Kicker products add incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. TheButtKicker.com. Moradness is a performance lifestyle brand motivated by motorsport and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. Official website, and he's on the socials as well. Mr. Hedge iRacing Photography. Capture your finest, proudest, or simply worst moments from your hobby in up to 8K resolution. A great addition to any sim room. MrHedge.co.uk. And finally, get ready to learn to be fast with Advanced Motorsports. Follow them on their socials to become a better driver. They're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Threads. They are absolutely everywhere. All right, let's get into the action for tonight at Winton Motor Raceway. Drivers in qualifying at the moment. And of course, this is a multi-class series. We have the GR86s and the MX-5s racing on track at the same time, but for their own separate points. And this being the first round, we don't have any standings to show you yet, but it'll be interesting to see what they look like coming out of this round. The driver who topped practice turned out to be Michael Diaz, I believe. I'm not too sure. No, it was Brett Gardner in the number 8. So he certainly got a lot to play for here. But Mark, we keep an eye on Winton Motor Raceway, a very technical, very twisty track in the north of the state of Victoria in my home country of Australia.
Yeah, about the only thing missing from this track is elevation change, Reese. Otherwise, it's got pretty much everything. It's got long straightaways, it's got a chicane, and it's got a sweeping corner as well. So a lot to get these drivers off their comfort zone a little bit, and might have to see some drivers sending it into corners where they may not want to otherwise.
Yeah, indeed. It's quite difficult to pass here at Winton, especially in faster cars, but the racing is frenetic around here. And I think if there's any kinds of cars that this track is suited to, it's certainly these ones. Winton's been around since the 1960s, and it may look like a pretty short track at the moment, but it's actually much longer than it used to be. Down here, coming down to this corner, the drivers turn left, but you see how the track continues on straight there? Well, that's the club circuit shortcut, and that was the original layout of the circuit. This extension was added in 1997, I believe. This extension coming down to the pit lane entry and the start-finish line. So if you think Winton's cramped, well, it could be worse.
Well, it might be cramped tonight because we have 36 drivers out there between these two classes of cars. So it's going to be tight quarters all night long. And with these MX-5 guys, they're about a second slower than the GR86s. So look to deal with traffic here as well. So,
indeed. Andrew Sharp of Vermilion Motorsports here. Vermilion is an Australian-based team that has been on quite an upward swing in the past year or so. They've expanded their driver roster massively, and they've got quite a bit of backing from some very interesting sponsors, starting their own Vermilion Esports outfit as well for their sort of prime team for various leagues down here in Australia. But I'm sure they'll be very happy to be presented in the largely Canadian and American-based Precision Racing League. Graham Wildman, meanwhile, got a podium in the LMP in the GTP and GT3 series at Algarve on Monday night. He'll be looking forward to strutting his stuff in a GR86. Nicholas Karangis, though, gets the fastest lap in the MX5s, I believe. Not too sure where that came from, but currently sitting on pole position in MX5s is David Barkley, currently sitting on a 1 minute 30.3. We're looking at about a second's difference here between the MX5s and the GR86s.
Yeah, it's quite a big time gap for these cars, and I think that plays in part to the long straightaways. Honestly, I believe the MX5s may be a little quicker in the tracks that have more like slow corners, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to wait for further into the season to see if that's accurate or not. It's been a while since I drove these cars.
Yeah, indeed. We do need to get ourselves refamiliarized with these machines. It's certainly been a while since I've driven either of these cars, but I know one thing's for sure: the racing is great, and there's a lot of potential for mistakes as well. The one thing that I have I've commentated on GR86 racing before. One thing that's really obvious is that the rear end has a lot of trouble, and in the MX5, when the tires start cold, the car is incredibly slippery. So I think the first couple of laps are going to be quite chaotic here. Look at CC Michael Chase even is having some problems there, falling to third place in the MX5 standings. He's just having a bit of an issue with keeping the rear end under him.
Yeah, and like you said, Reese, that is a factor of cold tires with these cars. It does take a couple laps for the tires to come up to temp to where you can feel comfortable enough with getting the power down and whatnot. Michael Chase was the leader in practice as the fastest time. So look forward to him seeing if he can put in a faster lap for pole position. But interestingly enough, Reese, a little bit of history about me is, as most of y'all know, I'm a NASCAR guy, so I do most of my racing in the NASCAR side. But I've never won in PRL competition on the oval side. But coincidentally enough, I have 2 wins in the former MX5 series that the PRL hosted several seasons ago.
All right, so you do have some winning experience in one of the cars that is being raced tonight, and of course it was a lot of hype over the MX5 series returning in a sense for this season, joined of course by the Toyota GR86 Cup car. It's a fantastic set of drivers, a fantastic turnout as well. We have 11 MX5s and 25 GR86s racing here. Michael Diaz as well competing in the GR86s. Diaz, of course, is the reigning champion of the Super Formula Series that is coming up after this, but he's decided not to race in Super Formula this season. We'll be able to see what he's like in a more sort of closed wheel, slower production car environment, which I haven't seen much of from him.
Yeah, these cars are more suited to getting your elbows out, rubbing fenders just a little bit, rather than them Super Formula cars that if you touch each other, it's basically a death sentence. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what Michael Diaz can do in these cars versus what he did last season, which was pretty much dominate all season long in the open wheelers.
Indeed. Just a few seconds left on the clock. Ewan Brown, one of the drivers we focus on as the clock ticks down. Will he be able to get across the line in time to set another lap? Just as the clock hits 0, he sets the time 1:31.8, and well, it'd be difficult to see whether or not that's an improvement for him, but we can go through the grid now for this 35-minute race. Maxime David is going to start on pole position alongside Andrew Sharp, with Brett Gardner and Graham Wildman, 2 very hefty competitors in the Sports Car Monday series, starting on the second row. Colin Winslow and Michael Diaz will round out the top 6. They are followed by Kevin Berquist and Dan Elgin, with Ian Brown and Greg Doucette rounding out the top 10. Keith Gwinnett and Jeremy Rogers rounding out our top 12. Matthew Wyckoff is going to start 13th place alongside Evan Henneman, with Nick Karangis and Jean-Sebastien Bedard starting in 16th place in the GR86s. Charles Ardolino and Aidan Irwin 17th and 18th. Move on through to Jake Cummings and Zach Yurt rounding out the top 20. Liam Parks and Ewan Brown from Indiana and Virginia's respectively. And then 2 Mid-Souths, Josiah Douglas and Colby Eisenberg, with 1 more GR86, Corey Groves in the number 71, 3.7 seconds off the pace. In the MX5 class, it's a bit smaller. David Barkley got pole position there, only 700 separating himself from Lincoln Fox. Michael Chase and Pat LaBrosse on row 3, with Austin Bartlett, Chase and Peter Moller rounding out the top 6 there. Andrew Gilliland and Nathan Miller starting in 7th and 8th. Our final 3 cars being Will Jennings, Joseph Carnes and Jake Markey. Very close times being set here in both of our classes, and a lot to play for, with a rolling start behind the iRacing AI-controlled safety car. Both classes starting separately, but we have seen that the MX-5s get mixed in with the GR86s. Hello to you too, Andrew Sharp, one of the drivers we're going to be following on Zoom today. This will certainly be a fantastic race. I love how big the field is, but Mark, I'm also interested to see how the MX-5s can mix it up with the GR86s.
Well, the MX-5s are going to definitely mix it up a little bit with the slower runners of the GR86s, as we saw in practice. Some MX-5s were a bit quicker, so that is going to be interesting over the course of the race. But I believe that these GR86 drivers towards the front of the field will probably end up running down the back half of the MX-5s before the race is over.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's going to be difficult for quite a few of them.
And they're off.
Here they go through the final corner, though. They are off, and we are away. For the PRL GR86 and MX-5 series, that was a really early start there from Maxime David. Down into turn 1 they come. The exit of turn 2 is one of the places you really need to avoid. That curb can send you flying if you're not careful, if you run too wide. The MX-5s get off to a clean start as well. Looks to me like David Barkley leading the way out of the final turn there, but he is getting chased down by Lincoln Fox.
And as we see on the side-by-side, the MX-5s get underway as well, going into the chicane. And they're already all single-filed by the time they get there.
Yeah, much less chaotic start in the MX-5s. It looks like Barkley's going to hold off Fox for the time being, but it is on for the lead in the GR86 class. Maxime David having to keep an eye out for Andrew Sharp and Brett Gardner behind him. The top 3 close together and breaking away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, so far this is a 3-horse race. I'm hearing some beating and banging on my end. Maybe someone got turned around in the MX-5s on the other side of the track. But, yeah, looks like 3 cars right now breaking away from the rest of the pack in GR86s as they're side-by-side going into the next corner.
Yep. Oh, defending for the lead is Maxime David. Brett Sharp having a big go at him coming into the final corner there. I've seen what the contact you're referring to is. It looks like, unfortunately, Peter Moeller and Nathan Miller came together in the MX-5s through the sweeper, but that's the only other incident that we've seen on track so far. It's been a lovely, clean start here to begin the second lap. Question is, will Andrew Sharp have enough in him to overcome Maxime David, who seemed was on pole by quite a margin? 0.2 of a second was the time by which he took pole, and well, he's not been able to break away so easily. This is going to be an interesting bit of a sprint.
Indeed it is. And you know, we saw Andrew smiling at us on the camera before the race got underway, and he had good reason for that. He started on the outside pole, and he's also one of our NASCAR truck drivers, and I gotta tell you folks, he's a quick driver. I mean, he's over a 5,000 iRating in the roadside, so he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, certainly does. Very quick man in the number 24, and you notice that they are avoiding those heavy curbs on the insides of the corners. Winton Motor Raceway had those harsh curbs all the way around for a long time, but got upgraded a few years ago to have nice flat curbs. But that's not going to save Colin Winslow, who gets passed by Graham Wildman there. They both go off track in the final couple of corners, and you can see that Winslow is none too happy with Graham Wildman for that one. It looks like Graham unfortunately sent it in a bit too hard. Now he has to defend from Greg Doucette in the zebra liveried car. He's successful in his defense for the time being, but will they get out of turn 2 without incident? Looks like they will, but Greg is looking a bit more aggressive now that Wildman is in trouble.
Yeah, and you saw before that incident occurred, that orange car ducked out of line real aggressively towards the inside of the track, and unfortunately I think he just overcooked it into the corner. Yeah,
easy to overcook in these cars. Both the GR86 and MX-5 run anti-lock braking systems. The GR86 also has traction control, though I would believe a lot of drivers prefer not to use it. When it kicks in, it can be quite brutal. In any case, this has turned into a fantastic battle in the GR86 class. Dan Elgin is really the one leading this battle in 5th place. He's the blue car just turning in there. Those two orange and purple machines of Bergquist and Wildman now looking forward to making a move on him. Back to the MX-5s for the time being. Well, the top 3 have broken away in this one too, and I suppose you could say the top 4 as well. Barkley, Fox, Chase and Pat LaBrosse making a 4-car pack for the lead here. Hasn't been quite as wild as the moves we've seen in the GR86s. Looks like these guys are just minding their business for the time being.
Yeah, a little more spread out, a little less chaotic over there, but also a lot less cars than the GR86s, so that usually tends to play in that favor. But
here's the move that you caught, Mark.
Oh yeah, that's what I heard in the background.
Yeah, just an unfortunate coming together there from the number 6 of Nathan Miller, and Peter Moller as well, I believe, was the other car involved. They will find themselves at the back of the field with not much further damage. So keep your eyes peeled on the lead for the MX-5s, and for that matter, also keep your eyes peeled on 7th and 6th in the GR86s as well. It seems like Graham Wildman has found his way past Kevin Bergquist, and there's a problem for Liam Parks in the GR86s as well. He's falling down the order, not too sure why, but there's been some kind of problem for him. Greg Doucette also losing positions here, or standing to lose positions. Ian Brown right on the back of him.
Yeah, Greg just got into the back bumper of Kevin Bergquist in that orange car just ahead, ever so slightly, got his car out of shape, and unfortunately for Greg, Colin was able to get by.
Yeah, it's all about momentum.
Sorry, Reese, didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh, good. Oh, good. If anything, I felt like I cut you off. I was just going to say that that momentum is so important in both of these cars, and Winton is a huge momentum circuit as well. There's many mid-speed corners, quite a few slow ones. It's all about trying to get the best speed through the mid-corner you possibly can. Otherwise, you're absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, it's very...
Here we go for the lead, Andrew Sharp. Oh my God, gets Maxime David sent wide. Absolute door banging here. I love seeing it through the triple hairpin section, and now Brett Gardner decides to get involved.
Now see, this is more my style of racing right here. You can't do this in the open wheelers. Just nudge on that contender just ever so slightly. Don't wreck them. Just nudge them.
Yeah, a little bit of a nudge, a little bit of a push is perfectly fine as long as it doesn't end in tears. Is there anything that Sharp and Gardner can do at the second last corner here? It's so easy to fling it up the inside for a move at those hairpins. You go through rollover corner, turn 6, that right-hander before the hairpins. It's so easy to send one up the inside there, and that's exactly what Andrew Sharp tried, but it seems Maxime David is going to prove a tougher customer than that.
Yeah, he held his ground very well. As a good run out of the chicane for Andrew. He's going to try it into turn 3.
Side by side into turn 3, compromised run through turn 2 for Maxime David, and for now, Andrew Sharp is going to move through to the lead. Is Maxime in trouble? Is Brett Gardner going to bring himself into this? Look at Michael Diaz as well. He's catching right up to these guys. It is a 4-way battle for the lead now.
And that was a brilliant, clean pass. No contact whatsoever from Andrew Sharp and Maxime. Unlike the first attempt Andrew tried.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a very assertive move, and he made it work coming into the high-speed corners. Oh, little bit of a slip there for Brett Gardner. It looks like Michael Diaz might have a chance.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, it was right there where Diaz had to lift out of it a little bit. He's going to have to hope for another little mistake out of Brett to be able to get a run on him.
Yeah, one more mistake, and see Diaz is trying to psych him out with the headlight flash. I'm amazed at how much of a gap these guys have gotten over the rest of the GR86 field. It really is amazing. They've spaced each other out a little bit. Diaz, I think, just a bit equalized on pace at the moment. Everyone else is in a deadlock for position at the moment. Elgin behind hasn't seen any moves from Wildman, and despite many aggressive moves, Colin Winslow doesn't seem to be making any further progress up the GR86 field either. So yeah, a little bit of a tiff there for the lead of the race, but aside from that, things staying, well, I wouldn't call them calm, I'd call them tense.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, to add to that just a little bit, you pointed it out earlier that these cars are very momentum based, and that makes it extremely difficult to set up passes. You are very reliant on the car ahead of you to make a mistake in order to get that run, because these cars don't really have a lot of acceleration out of the corners unless you can keep that momentum up.
Yeah, finding out the hard way is Dan Elgin and Kevin Bergquist here. Bergquist trying to keep Winslow behind him as Winslow got a run around the outside of Greg Doucette in the Zebra liveried car. Doucette is going to brake nice and early, and flinging it up the inside is Colin Winslow. Can Bergquist fight back at him here? This is the battle for roundabout 7th spot at the moment. 2 by 2 coming into the second last corner, and Winslow's going to emerge top of the pack. Doucette and Bergquist come together, and Bergquist spins coming out of the final corner. First real drama we've seen this race.
Yeah, that was tight quarters action all the way through that last sector there, and unfortunately Kevin just getting the bad end of the stick on that one.
Yeah, unfortunate little coming together there. I don't think either driver was necessarily at fault. Just a little bit of a bump, and then coming into the corner, yeah, he just took too much curb and ultimately lost it by himself.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't help hitting the nose of his car along the door of Greg's either. That'll definitely get your car out of shape.
Yeah, shame there. Well, things still heating up at the top of the MX-5 field, by the way, and they've started to catch some of the GR86s. Colby Eisenberg and Liam Parks now find themselves behind the top 4 in the MX-5 class for positions on track as up the inside goes Lincoln Fox, and he moves to the lead coming through the sweeper. David Barkley having to give up the position there. Potentially took a bit too much curb and ruined his momentum, but now there's a potential chance for Barkley to fight back as long as Chase and LaBrosse don't get involved, which it looks like Chase is already there.
Yeah, Chase is on the case with that one. Little Paw Patrol reference. Sorry, I had to do it. Couldn't help myself. But yeah, a little 4-horse fight for the lead in the MX-5 is heating up. We got great racing going on everywhere, Reese.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with the quality of the racing we've seen so far here. A sort of old new series here at the Precision Racing League. Goodness me, there's so much going on for moves in the GR86 field ahead of these guys. I saw that move there. It's coming out of turn 2. Jean-Sebastien Bedard for 14th place. He's trying to fight off Nick Karangis and Jake Cummings here. Cummings, of course, one of the drivers that competed on Monday night as well. And this is super close here. Oh, yep, that's a big send indeed. But he's not far up enough here for Bedard. Oh,
what a save.
Just recovers it. Wow. Doesn't involve anyone else in it either.
I thought that was going into that barrier there on the right side of the track.
I thought so too. And now it's Jake Cummings' turn to have a go at Nicholas Karangis. That was a very tense bit of racing there, but it looks like it's over for now. With 21 minutes to go, it is on for 3rd spot. Easy does it for Brett Gardner as he tries to catch our pole sitter, Maxime David, with Andrew Sharp now skipping away in the lead of the race.
Man, everybody getting their elbows out. Down to, I believe, 21 minutes left to go in this race. Some people are thinking that the end of the race is getting even closer than that, so...
Yeah, this is, it seems like a lot of time has flown by, and it has, but we got to remember, this is a 35-minute race. We've only completed 15 minutes worth of racing for the time being, so there's plenty more of this race to come, and Maxime David is going to have to put on a mother of a defensive drive here. Oh, look at him flinging it right towards the inside of the corner there. He's not just trying to defend from Brett Gardner. He's trying to keep up with Andrew Sharp as well. Oh, he's a little deep. Meanwhile, Brett Gardner trying to line up the exits here. He's going for those later turn-ins, straighter exits. That's going to help you out in this car.
And that was really working for him through that sector, too. He, unfortunately, just didn't have anywhere to take it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. That's the weird dichotomy of Winton. It seems to offer up these brilliant opportunities to gain time by altering your line, but then there's not much space for you to actually make use of the advantage you gained. That's, I think, a big reason why it's such a polarizing circuit on iRacing. Of course, I'm Australian. I like Winton. I'm contractually obligated to. But but yeah, I understand why people get frustrated with this place. Certainly has its own character.
For sure, for sure. And that's what also is so inviting about the full-on sins. Just nudge the driver ahead out of the way a little bit and hope for the best.
Zach Yurt, meanwhile, this is down in the field. He's in 18th at the moment in the halfway there machine. Charles Ardolino and Jean-Sebastien Bedard are the drivers in front of him. Bedard ended up getting passed by Jake Cummings in the midst of the incident that he had. And it looks like up the top of the field, Brett Gardner's gotten by Maxime David as well. So that's our pole sitter back another position, but I think these guys are proving no matter where you are on the field, there is someone to race with, and Zach Yurt is trying his best to get past Ardolino at the moment, but it's proving difficult.
Yeah, and it's difficult for the best of drivers at the best of circumstances too, so Zach, don't feel bad. It's difficult for everybody.
Yeah. A hard to pass track in a car that is very hard to commit to passes in. Oh, you're just clipping the grass there. He's going to lose pace to Ardolino and Bedard here. Will Ardolino go for the move at the second last corner here? He's not quite close enough to get it done as the fastest lap goes to Brett Gardner, who's just moved up into second place. He is on the charge, 0.6 of a second quicker than Andrew Sharp in the lead of the race. Yeah, Sharp thought that he was getting away here, but Gardner off screen made the move on Maxime David, and now Andrew Sharp's starting to feel the pressure.
And Maxime still feeling the pressure as he's getting pressured by Michael Diaz for third.
Yeah, two battles for the top four positions here. Is Brett going to be successful in grabbing the lead from Andrew Sharp? First it was Maxime David, then it was Sharp. Now it's Gardner who is the real challenger for the lead of the GR86 category. And have to say, it's been a magnificently clean race, aside from the couple of incidents that we've seen. There's a lot of respect being shown by the drivers here.
Yeah, for sure. These guys up at the front have really shown what they're made of with not wrecking each other out of position.
Yeah. The other GR86 series I've commentated have been a lot less clean than this. Plenty of drivers who just decide to send it and think about the consequences later. Not the case with these guys. I'm really impressed with the conduct of the drivers at the Precision Racing League. Brett Gardner brings the fastest lap down again, as seeing news of Liam Parks retiring, apparently. Unfortunate there for Parks. He was already having a bit of a rough time in the GR86s. Looks like we're going to have a look at how the move was made here for Brett Gardner, and that is exactly what you want to see at the first hairpin. Speaking of Gardner, he's just made his way through to the lead.
Oh, wow, I missed that. What happened there?
This is coming out of turn 4. A little bit of grass there for Andrew Sharp. And look at, wow, that's interesting. I think Sharp might have caught a slowdown at some point there, because I don't know why he backed off like he did.
Yeah, that is interesting. We'll have to investigate that if he finishes on the podium and gets an interview.
Yeah, indeed. Can't wait to chat to a few of these drivers. Ian Brown, meanwhile, getting passed by Keith Gwinnett there. Matthew Wyckoff now figures there's a chance at a move here. Tries to move to the inside, on board with Wyckoff. Interesting stuff. Better exit, straighter run, but more curb being taken for Ian Brown. A little bit of a draft off of Keith Gwinnett there, with Jeremy Rogers at the front of this pack. Alter your line, make sure that you have the momentum. The final corner is a little faster than it looks, so you need to be careful through there, not to go too slow, otherwise you'll lose a ton of time to the driver ahead. We're past the halfway point of the race now, Mark, and it looks like drivers have gotten into enough of a rhythm now that they're feeling brave.
Indeed, they are. And I believe Liam Parks, who has retired from the race, was feeling a little too brave as he went a little too quick through the chicane and unfortunately ended up with a date with the wall, as we see on the replay right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what can happen when you run a little too wide out of turn 2. The curb is fine initially, but you run onto the second part of the curb and you're just sent sky high. Look at this on the slow-mo. Thank you very much, Hugo. See, he wasn't in any danger of hitting the wall. He just got over that huge bump and went airborne. From that point, the car was not able to be saved.
Liam, these are race cars, not airplanes. Very impressive.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, very good air time. Yeah, don't panic. Yeah, well, there was definitely a big panic moment there. Not even Zaphod Beeblebrox could save him. In any case, yeah. All right. The number 44 of Matthew Wyckoff has ultimately been passed by Ian Brown and Keith Gwinnett, and he's trying to work his way back through. They're starting to catch up as, Zach Yurt, bit further behind, side by side with Ardolino, but is unsuccessful, and Kevin Bergquist is going to have a run at him coming into the first turn here. Bergquist moves up to 18th place. How hard is Yurt going to fight this? Brake as late as you dare. Fling it into the first corner. Try and use a little bit of the curb there in turn 2 and don't get onto the second sawtooth curb out of the second corner there. Good stuff between those two.
Yeah, good, hard, clean fighting. And I like the paint scheme that Zachary Yurt has brought to the race tonight, giving us some awareness for autism. A very special paint scheme for a lot of people.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, a little bit late on the brakes, though. Got to be careful not to get that paint scheme scuffed as he tries in the hairpins here. Ahead of them, Keith Gwinnett and Ian Brown were trading places as well. There's quite a few battles going on through the GR86 field. The MX5 field is a bit sleepy in comparison. Up the inside, then, easy does it. Oh, yep. Looks like Ardolino might have to make way here for Bergquist, and Zach Yurt's going to have a go here. Yeah, I was going to say the MX5 field is comparatively sleepy. There's only one real battle, and that's between Michael Chase and Pat LaBrosse. Meanwhile, when it comes to the GR86s, we've got a battle for second, we've got a battle for 7th, we've got a battle for 9th that's got 4 cars involved, and we've got battles for 14th, 17th, yeah, it's just ridiculous what we're seeing at the moment.
Just pick a position and there's a battle.
Yeah.
It's great
We've
stuff.
even got a GR86 involved in that battle too, between Chase and LaBrosse. Corey Groves, who is down to 21st in the GR86s. Carangis, meanwhile, well, we've seen quite a bit from him as well. Can he get past Jake Cummings for 14th place?
And that is an interesting color combo on the vehicle. Whoa! A little too much curb there from Cummings.
That's a big yikes moment there. He got a little crossed up coming out of the sweeper, and a little bit too much curb through rollover. It sends you wide. It allows a big opportunity for the driver behind to have a move, but Carangis' leopard print ultimately doesn't work it out for him. Or is it a cheetah? I think the cheetah's the faster of the two cats.
It's some kind of cat print with pink wheels I'm seeing. That's an interesting color combo.
Uh-oh. That's a spin for Zachary Yurt.
Oh, no.
Dear. We were following his exploits in and amongst this battle, but unfortunately it seems he's come a cropper, potentially over the curb. So he'll be all on his lonesome for the time being. No, he just lost it by himself there. Seems like maybe not much weight over the rear. One of the points I was making earlier is that the GR86 has a very unstable rear end, and that's good if you want to be flinging it into corners. If you're a race car driver, you want a car that turns in easily, but the GR86's rear end can be a little temperamental at times, and I think that's what's happened to Zach Yurt.
Yeah, unfortunately, the balance on the rear end just got all cattywampus for him, and he was unable to hold on to it. Meanwhile, the battle for P2 and the GR86s was hot and heavy for a second as they were lapping the MX5 of Jake Mackey. They've all single filed out now, but this has also allowed Brett to just continue to build a gap. He's now 2.25 seconds ahead of these guys.
Yeah, it's been a brilliant run for Brett Gardner. It seems like these guys have been too caught up with each other to really get a move done on him. Sharp is wanting to break free, but David and Diaz have not allowed him to. The view on board from Diaz is certainly interesting. I think Michael's been on the outside looking in for the most part here. We haven't seen him flinging up the inside. He's just sitting behind, he's observing, he's planning his moves, he's waiting for a mistake. And I think that's the right approach to take here. But they are costing each other quite a bit of time. Brett Gardner running 129.3 on the last lap. You compare that to, well, the fastest of these three was David on a 29, it was Diaz on a 29.8. So Gardner at least half a second faster than all three of these drivers fighting for second. It's a rather difficult running for Sharp, David, and Diaz. I mean, they all want that coveted second position. They all want to break away and catch up to Gardner and fight for the lead, but there's nothing they can do for the time being. They're too embroiled in the battle with each other. They're too busy trying to decide which driver is leading the charge. And with 8 minutes remaining on the clock, time is rapidly running out to see who will get that honor. Looks like a pretty good exit for Maxime David, though. He's going to catch a little bit of slipstream now off of off of Andrew Sharp.
Yeah, Sharp getting a little wide there in that final corner with the dirt slinging up. And you're right, with Michael Diaz just sitting back there, I think he's just waiting to pounce. He's in the catbird seat and doesn't want to go too early.
Yeah, indeed.
As our leader's dealing with MX5 traffic ahead.
Oh yeah, this is potential here for Brett Gardner to lose some time. He's just made his way past Austin Bartlett Chase, who's running 8th in the MX5 class at the moment. Not much of traffic to contend with until Nathan Miller, as David defends from Diaz. That's lost them both a bit of time to Andrew Sharp, and Sharp was on the headlight flash to let Bartlett Chase know that he's coming. The GR86s definitely have the edge on straight line speed, a little more power, but the MX5s can certainly keep up with them in the turns.
And Bartlett doing the sportsman thing, just staying out of the way as best he can. Gonna pull down right in front of Maxine. That's gonna allow Michael.
Oh no!
Oh goodness, this is tight.
Oh, yep, this is too tight. Bartlett Chase has to move over and allow David and Diaz through here at the second last corner, and David has gone a bit deep, takes to pit entry. Diaz flies in, and oh dear, bit of contact, loses momentum. Maxime David will hold on to the position, but my lord, that was as tense as you like.
And Diaz is not going to be happy with Maxime after that move, just chopping the nose off of off of Michael there, trying to maintain his position in third place. The MX5 didn't do anything wrong there, Reese. He was just the wrong place at the wrong time, unfortunately. But he did what he was supposed to. He just maintained his line and allow these guys to get around him as best they could, and unfortunately Maxime and Michael just couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, that's the problem. Maxime and Michael were already side by side at the left-hander, and well, another view of the final contact there for Diaz. Good on him to keep it rolling, keep it going. But yeah, it all really started at the corner before. I think Maxime was trying to defend from Diaz side by side, but then they saw the MX5 and they were like, well, what do we do? What do we do? So Austin Bartlett Chase, I think, doing the right thing and moving over just to allow them through there.
Right, I agree with you 100% there, Reese. As we get a replay, oh no.
Oh dear.
Jake Cummings, I believe, getting spun around there by Nicholas.
Yep. Coran just turning Cummings, unfortunately, and well, that has demoted Jake Cummings to the pits. In fact, I think that's resulted in a almost race-ending damage for him. There's been a problem for Jean-Sébastien Bedard as well, who was running all right earlier. Matthew Wyckoff currently sitting in 12th place. He's got a 5-way battle ahead of him of Brown, Gwinnett, Rogers, and Elgin in P8. Replay here of the run out for the number 7 of Bedard. Oh, he just stops.
Yeah, that was interesting. Exiting pit road and just parks it.
Yeah. What is the deal? I'm not too sure. But a couple of bizarre incidents in this race so far, but it's almost come to an end. We've got 4 minutes and 10 seconds remaining on the clock, and currently battles still on for 3rd place in this 5-way battle for 8th spot in the GR86 class. The battle in the MX5s is still on for 3rd between Michael Chase and Pat Labrosse, but as far as the MX5s go, this is the only battle that we can see, the only occasion where cars are within a second of each other, so that's still yet to be worked out. It's been a good drive from the both of them so far, teammates as well, so it's in their best interests not to run into each other. As Brett Gardner sets a new fastest lap, holy cow.
Just wanted to bring some attention to the battle for 8th and the GR86s as we're getting side by side into the last corner here.
Oh, we are. We absolutely are. This is looking a little messy. Keith Gwinnett is going to get a bump from his teammate Matthew Wyckoff here. Easy does it. Ian Brown on the inside's going to defend. Ian currently sitting in 10th spot, and he's going to keep that 10th spot coming out of turn 2. And they'll sort themselves out just for the time being. Dan Elgin up the front of this is going to be enjoying the fact that that gap is growing, but yeah, that looked very messy at the last couple of turns.
Exciting stuff here in the PRL tonight on this wonderful Thursday evening for the GR86s and the MX5 series.
These two Valhalla GR86s, they've got a lot to play for right now, especially considering how aggressive Ian Brown is being. He almost ran right into the back of Jeremy Rogers there for 9th spot. Look at how aggressive he's being on the brakes. He's making up a lot of time, but the Valhalla pair behind, I think, are smelling blood in the water at the moment. Ian Brown struggling for exits since Corey Groves, who's down in 20th position, just succeeds in letting them go before the final couple of corners. Minute and 48 to go on the clock, and Brett Gardner in the lead of the race. Looks like he's going to get one more lap after this one that he completes just now. But this fight will not be over by any stretch of the imagination. We're still seeing battles for 2nd, for 8th, and for 13th in the GR86s.
Yeah, this battle for 8th, currently the biggest battle on track, involving 5 different cars.
Yeah, and it feels like it's always hovered around that number, even though we've had certain drivers depart. As, oh dear, Labrosse and Chase. Hello. Looks like, is that Labrosse that's made the move on Chase and is now letting him go again? This is an interesting little tussle between these two cars. 69 and the 34 side by side into turn 1. They're giving us a race here for 2nd spot. Chase on the inside, sorry, Labrosse on the inside. Unfortunately not able to keep that side by side going. That was an entertaining little bit of racing, little scrap there.
Yeah, very clean from the teammates as well.
Yeah, and clean is exactly what you want to see. Just having fun out there, I think, at the end. They know that there's no catching Lincoln Fox and David Barkley, and they've got enough of a gap over Gilliland that they're able to keep themselves give themselves a little bit of fun without costing themselves too much. Well, the time is about to hit zero in the first round of the PRL GR86 and MX-5 series, and Brett Gardner, who won the GT3 class in the Monday Sports Car Series, currently position number 1. It is the last lap of the race as he's making his way through the hairpin section. This guy started in 3rd place, and as the race wore on, his pace has continued to build, taking the fastest lap just a couple of laps ago. The only other driver who's gotten into the 1 minute 28 second bracket was Michael Diaz in 4th place. No one else has been able to overcome him. Little bit of traffic ahead of Brett Gardner now. Colby Eisenberg, who's got Andrew Gilliland for company in the MX-5, but Brett Gardner, through the final corner, is going to take a very well-deserved victory in the GR86 class here.
On the last corner.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't make it stick, but definitely got his elbows out there. Congrats to Brett Gardner, though. I didn't mean to take away from that.
Oh, good. Brett Gardner's going to be celebrating that one long into the night. And as far as the MX-5 class goes, well, we got plenty more to come. Lincoln Fox is the one leading the way, and it looks like since he took the lead from David Barkley, he did not look back. Lincoln has driven incredibly well. His fastest lap, a 1 minute 30.4. Not quite as fast as Michael Chase and Pat LaBrosse, who are continuing their fight over 3rd place in the MX-5s. But, man, to take nothing away from Lincoln Fox, this was a dominant drive to start off his MX-5 season.
Yeah, this is a brilliant race for both of our class winners tonight. Lincoln, he had to put up with a good little stint there from David Barkley. He couldn't get his name out, excuse me. But unfortunately, Barkley just didn't have enough at the end of the race.
Yeah, indeed. So, Lincoln Fox is your MX-5 winner, and that's probably the first time he's ever hit that curb coming out of turn 2. He's already finished best possible time to get it done. The Itasca Point MX-5 will have 1 trophy to its name so far this season, as the checkered flag flies for everyone in the field. And we can go through our results in just a few moments' time. I gotta say, really good first round there. A few crashes, yes, but overall, I'm happy with how the racing went.
I couldn't agree more there, Reese. I mean, this race could have easily gone a different route with as many cars we had in the GR86s. But, yeah, everyone, for the most part, kept it nice and clean, didn't do too crazy as far as trying to wreck each other, but saw a lot of good close battles, and yeah, couldn't be happier. It was a good start to the season.
Yeah, very good start to the season indeed. The 34 of Michael Chase joins his Itasca Point teammates in celebrating 2 cars on the podium, 3 cars in the top 4. David Barkley with them as well. Barkley should be very happy with his performance. It was a nice, consistent race.
Yeah, it's always nice to finish on the podium, no matter, kind of what happens during the race. Finish top 3 on the roadside, and, for me, that's as good as a win almost.
Yeah, indeed. So, as the MX-5 field makes its way into the pits, we can go through the results, with Brett Gardner winning your GR86 class by 3.5 seconds over Andrew Sharp and Maxime David. Michael Diaz, 2 positions gained to finish in 4th place. He passed Graham Wildman and Colin Winslow to do that. Greg Doucette will finish in 7th in the Throttle Thursday Zebra car. Dan Elgin finishing 8th place, winning that battle with the likes of Jeremy Rogers and Ian Brown to round out the top 10. Keith Gwinnett and Matthew Wyckoff only finished a few tenths of a second behind them to round out the top 12, with Evan Henneman, Kevin Berquist, Zach Yurt and Josiah Douglas the last cars to finish before the MX-5s. And plenty of retirements to speak of as well, such as Jean-Sébastien Bedard, Liam Parks, and Aidan Irvin. As far as the MX-5s went, it was Lincoln Fox who won by over 3 seconds once again, this time over David Barkley. 3 Itasca Point cars in the top 4. Michael Chase and Pat Labrosse were able to join Lincoln Fox there. Andrew Gilliland running out the top 5, and last car on the lead lap with Peter Moller, Austin Bartlett Chase, Nathan Miller, Jack Markey, and Will Jennings rounding out the top 10 there. Joseph Carnes, unfortunately, unable to make it to the finish of the race. Man, what varying fortunes we have seen in the GR86 and MX5 series, but for now, the number 8 of Brett Gardner is going to be the one joining us here for the winning interview. Well, Brett, last time I had a chat to you was when you won the GT3 class at Portimao in the Corvette. You switched to the GR86 and you've won here at Winton. It's been a good week for you. Yeah, feeling really good, especially after that one. Felt like the competition was insanely high, so this win feels, really good. Yeah, it must have been tough to make those moves. Winton is notorious for being a track that's very hard to pass at.
Yeah, especially if you really want to, keep the precedence of don't take your opponents out, right? And so kind of got lucky, I think, with 2 instances. It felt like I didn't really have to do much work after a mistake. So then it just became hoping I don't make a mistake as well for myself.
Must have been difficult navigating through traffic as well, because the MX-5 certainly kept up with the GR86 in the corners, but didn't quite keep up on the straights. How was it for you?
It was fine. The MX-5 drivers that we came up behind were really respectful for the faster class passing through. So from my perspective, I didn't have any issues or anything like that. So kudos to them for doing a good job, just not necessarily getting out of the way, but not doing anything erratic to get in the way.
Final question then. Andrew, Maxime, and Michael certainly gave you a very hard race before you skipped away in the lead. Are you expecting those battles with them to last all season? Are there any other drivers that jump out to you as particularly close opponents?
Right now, based on that race, I feel like I'm gonna be seeing them a lot. I think even my teammates will be able to start making their way up the grid as well. Ian and Jake, they had a lot of bad luck today, but I fully expect to see them up near the podium as well.
Excellent stuff. Well, thanks very much for joining us, Brett. Congratulations once again on your victory in the opening round of the season.
Thank you very much.
Brett Gardner with a great drive in the GR86 class. Meanwhile, behind him, it was the number 24 of Andrew Sharp, who took second place in the GR86's, Mark.
Yeah, fellow PRL admin Andrew Sharp finishing on the podium tonight in the Toyota. Andrew, tell me, how did the car feel for you tonight?
I don't know. I definitely didn't have the pace towards the end there. Brett was much faster than me. I think I got that slowdown in turn 4, and that was kind of it. Really fun track, but I think I still need to figure some things out in order to be competitive. So happy with P2, at least to start the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Great start to the season. Tell me, looking through the schedule, what race stands out to you as a potential win?
VIR is my favorite, as a lot of people. And then I've done a lot of laps at the Nords, especially with the 24-hour a couple weeks ago. So hopefully those two are happy. And I love Oschersleben a lot too. So I think the schedule is going to be really fun this season.
All right, well, I have to jot those down to keep my eye out on you. Don't let me down.
Yeah. It's always P2 in this series, so I gotta get some more wins.
Yeah. Well, Andrew, great racing tonight from you and everyone else around you. Is there anyone you want to give a thanks to before we let you go?
Yeah, thanks to Ben Faulkner for teaching me the Aussie ways. He was really helping me out last night, trying to teach me how to drive like an Australian. So shout out to him and Vermilion Motorsports for the support. So thanks to him.
Well, awesome stuff, Andrew. Again, congrats on second place tonight, and we look forward to seeing you next time out when we come back.
Sounds good. Thanks for the broadcast. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Lovely stuff from Andrew Sharp there. In terms of the MX5 class, we do not have our winner Lincoln Fox, but we do have second place man David Barkley with us at the moment. It was a pretty tough race, David. It looked a bit quiet there towards the end, but yeah, I think just feeling things out here in the first round of the season.
Yeah, it was. It started out great. Lincoln made the pass. I was gonna let him ahead of me and try to save tires as much as I could, and try to attack there at the end. And we got involved in a GR spin, and that put a gap on me and Lincoln, and I could never catch back up.
And the MX5 also, I think, has a reputation for being very slippery on cold tires. How was that feeling around Winton? Because, this time of the year in Australia, it gets really cold in that part of Victoria.
I think I'm one of those rare drivers that really like cold tires on the MX5. I've found to have cold tire practice, and that really makes a difference in a race.
Yeah, certainly does. You managed to hold on to the second place for pretty much the entirety of that race there, and working those cold tires beautifully at the start. How was the traffic for you?
The traffic was it was lighter than what I was expecting, but there were a couple GRs that were nice enough to let us by. So traffic really wasn't an issue here. I was expecting more traffic at a smaller track like this.
Yeah, I've got to say I was too. Well, a clean race to start off this season, second place on the board. Here's hoping that more results of the same come and you can convert a pole into a win.
Hey, that's the goal. That is the goal. Lincoln and Michael, they're tough. I race with them pretty regularly, so they're definitely tough to race with, but I love it. It's going to be fun to watch this year.
Yeah, certainly is. Thanks very much for joining us, David Barkley. Congratulations on second.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Lovely stuff from David Barkley. And speaking of Michael Chase, looks like he's our final driver to join us for a quick interview with Mark Kalin here.
Yeah, we got Michael Chase here, and congrats, Michael, on P3 this evening. What did you need just that little bit more of to be able to fight for a win tonight? It looks like he's still muted. Michael, do you got a copy?
Hey, Mark. Yeah, I don't think I had the pace for Lincoln, but he kind of got the best of all of us out there tonight. So I just wanted to stop and grab the trophy for him. And yeah, it was traffic wasn't too bad, but it was a little bit of a factor at one point. But honestly, everybody made it through okay. That stuff happens. So it was a great opener.
And we noticed for most of the race, you were just battling there with your teammate. And you were behind him for the majority of the race. Do you think if you got ahead of him sooner, you may have been able to run them down?
I don't think so. It looked like we were pretty identical on pace. So we kind of we were talking during the race if we could each log our separate sectors, we might be able to. But we had our strong points and our weaknesses and just couldn't make it work. So no, I think this was all David and Lincoln today.
Gotcha. Well, nonetheless, it was still great to see you up there battling for a podium position. Michael, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to for your good performance tonight?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Itasca Point for putting this sponsorship on for us, and we love running the colors. So thanks a lot. Hope they're watching. And thanks to the team. Really appreciate everybody coming out for this, and to the organizers put together always a great race in PRL. So, and thanks for broadcasting, Mark. I didn't know you were in the booth.
Yeah, this is my second full-time season up here in the booth for Thursday nights. I've really been enjoying it and really enjoyed watching you guys out there on track.
All right.
But Michael, again, congrats on P3 and look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks at Oschersleben.
All right. Have a good 4th.
Thank you. You as well.
Yeah, of course, July 4th coming up very shortly for those of you in the United States. Well, that concludes our coverage of the GR86 and MX-5 series, but the night is certainly not over here on RaceSpotTV. We are going to the Super Formula series now, their opening round at the Red Bull Ring. Oh man, Mark, you and I first came together in the commentary box for the inaugural season of this series last season, and we had so much fun. We absolutely adore this series.
Oh yeah, let me tell you how much fun we had. We had a lot of fun. No, it was an awesome series. It really, kind of blew our minds with how much the series put on such great battles and racing all season long. It really never slowed down, and I think we can expect some more of the same for this season.
Yeah, I think we can expect more of the same as well. Currently in qualifying at the moment for the first round, we've got a brilliant season of this series coming up. Man, the schedule last season was great. This one's just as good. Starting at the Red Bull Ring, of course, we go to Misano for round 2, sharing the second week of the season with the LMP3 and GT4 series, and then go to Fuji, the home of these cars. 2 Japanese circuits on the schedule in the form of Fuji and Twin Ring Motegi, but Hungaroring makes a return from last season. We also go to Spa, Mugello, Zandvoort as well. A beautiful run of circuits for these cars.
Yeah, it's a really exciting schedule. Honestly, I'm most excited for Spa, just because that is a really fun track for all makes and models of road course racing, and it's a personal favorite for this schedule for me.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Sebring as well for round 5. Super bumpy, and I don't know how these cars are going to cope with the level of bumps at Sebring. They certainly had a lot of trouble with the curbs at Road Atlanta at the start of last season, so if that's anything to go by, man, we have got one heck of a schedule running all the way through to the end of August. But qualifying is active at the moment, and we've got currently Pablo Valenzuela Uribe on provisional pole position. Valenzuela Uribe is one of the most competitive drivers from last season. It's a shame that we are not seeing the precision racing cars, a few of them in the field for this season. We had the likes of Boris Ovando and Michael Diaz taking part last season. Diaz was the champion, but it looks like Uribe is the one with the edge here.
Yeah, and another one to keep an eye out for you folks is J.R. Williams. He was very strong at each race last season as well. Mention the precision racing esports drivers. Diaz did not sign up, but his teammate from last season of Boris Ovando did sign up. He is just not here tonight, this evening, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, he's going to use this one as one of his drop rounds, but SRTE's J.R. Williams, certainly one of the more competitive drivers from last season. His luck didn't go his way in the mid-season, though, so he's got a lot to make up for here. And he is using all of the curbs here on this lap. Let's see if he manages to grab an improvement there. He remains in third for the time being. That looks like it was an outlap for him, potentially, or maybe he made a mistake on this lap. Red Bull Ring is a circuit that is fantastic for open wheelers. It's short, sharp, and fast with lots of long straights and some beautiful sweeping corners in the middle and end of the circuit. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of overtaking, especially considering the overtake button in these cars. It's works a bit different to the way it does in IndyCar on iRacing. In IndyCar, you get 20 seconds per application of push to pass, and you get 10 of them over the race. In Super Formula, it works a bit differently. The overtake button can be used for a maximum of 200 seconds in the race, and you can use it for as long as you want at a time.
Yeah, you can use it for a full lap, half a lap, more than a full lap if you want, up until that 200-second point. So it's really a strategy game as far as when you want to use it and how you want to use it.
JR Williams 3/10 down on his fastest lap there. Beautiful tour around the Red Bull Ring. Maximum overtaking opportunity will be at this turn coming up here. Turn 3, you would say, officially. This is turn 2 that he's making his way past at the moment. That little sweep on the way into turn 3. But we'll also see some passes potentially in the last couple of corners too. Carson Keane, one of the drivers who's new to the series for this season, currently sitting in P5, which is awesome for him. And I think another opportunity for discussion is the Pro and Am classes. That's decided by iRacing, and Blake Ziti currently on pole position in the Am class. But the Pro and Am classes compete for the same championship points. So the higher up you finish in the Am class, man, it's going to be a huge opportunity, especially if there are some Pro class cars splitting you from your competitors.
Yeah, and as far as that AM class is concerned, you see there Blake Ziti leading the way currently for the AM drivers, and he was one of the top figures for the AM class last season as well, right there with Brett Thurman a few spots back.
Yeah, ZT unfortunately going wide coming out of the second last turn there. The off tracks at the Red Bull Ring are certainly a point of contention as long as you keep your 2 of your wheels on the red and white curbs, you are clear. And got to be careful, especially in the case of Manuel Vargas, who doesn't run quite as fast on that lap, to not run beyond those red and white curbs. We're going to be seeing a lot of curb usage here.
Yeah, the curbs are going to be driven over quite frequently, as you want to try and maximize every inch of space to get the best corner entries and exits as you can in these cars. Yeah, as you notice going around the circuit, the curbs here are flat, unlike they are at Winton. Winton has big bumps, but here they're all flat so that these cars don't really have any issue going over them.
Yeah, at least the red and white curbs, at least. The curb extensions you see painted green and white, they're a little more brutal. They have a bit more of a bump in them, and you got to be careful not to go too far beyond them. Frankie Brzezowski, as the checkered flag flies, caught up behind another car here at the end of the lap, as John Krause, it seems, improves in the AM class, moves up to 7th place there, puts Rodrigo Munoz back to 14th place. Ty Dunnett coming to the end of a lap now as well, 112.9. That will be an improvement for him. Moves up 1 position over Nick Dawson-Latham.
And JR at the last minute was able to move up to P2.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, missed that. Excellent job from JR Williams to get onto the front row for the first round of the second season of PRL Super Formula. Blake Ziti on his final hot lap here at the moment. He crossed the line. Just in time to start another lap here. Let's see if he can improve any. Nope, looks like he's abandoned that lap, and it's going to end in the gravel trap for him. Cristobal Valenzuela in the AM class, making his way to the end of the lap now. Is this going to be an improvement? Will he get past Munoz? 112.7. That's oh man, that's only 0.04 of a second or so off his fastest. That is going to sting. James Langevin very aggressive with the curb in the final corner there. It looks like he cut it too much. He's going to abandon that lap right at the end. Official checkered flag flies at the end of the session, and we can let the timer tick out and eventually go through the grid for this race. 45 minutes on the cards, or 32 laps, whichever comes first. Pablo Valenzuela Uribe for final lap sim racing team, starting on pole position alongside SRTE's JR Williams. Manuel Vargas, Valenzuela Uribe's teammate, is going to start in fourth alongside Daniel Kranifus, with Carson Keane taking fifth spot. Blake Ziti is on pole for your AM class category. Frankie Brzezowski and Gabriel Hopp starting 7th and 8th. The top 10 rounded out by Victor Couto and Brett Thurman, Mark McDonald and Jeff Groff rounding out the top 12. John Krauser and Rodrigo Munoz on the 7th row, with Cristobal Valenzuela and Neil Alexander 15th and 16th. Ty Dunnett and Nick Dawson-Lathan 17th and 18th. Good turnout for this first round, with the top 20 rounded out by Hugo Galaz and Brett Punkari, who I know from Max Bance mainly. Rodrigo Basalo and James Langevin 21st and 22nd. Our field rounded out by Kyle Bowersock and Nicholas Colander, a driver that I've had plenty of experience in recent times with the BIS IndyCar Series. He loves his open wheelers. Let's see how well he can do from 24th place. A standing start for this one, Mark, and well, it's the first standing start of the new season. We'll see how many drivers get their launch right.
Yeah, it's always a topic of conversation. Interesting to see who's going to get it right, who's going to get it wrong. But JR Williams right there on that front row in the middle of a final laps sandwich here, so he'll have to be careful going into turn one.
Oh, absolutely he will. Bit of a staggered grid here at the Red Bull Ring too. It is a Formula One circuit through and through. This place was built in the 1960s, started life as the Österreichring, and altered in the mid-90s by Hermann Tilke to its current layout. Revs rise, and we get ready for the start of PRL Super Formula Season 2. We are away. An excellent start from JR Williams. The final lap cars not getting their launch right. My goodness, Manuel Vargas getting swamped by the field coming into the first turn, and oh, we've already got a spin there. Daniel Kranifus and Pablo Valenzuela Uribe together coming out of turn one, and it looks like Kranifus is going to end his race coming out of the first turn. Oh, there's also been a spin for another car coming through turn two. It's Blake Ziti. AM-class pole position is out, and this is a chaotic start as they make their way through the hairpin for the first time.
Oh man, it's almost like watching a real Formula One race here. The guys are going nuts into turn one on the start. It was a beautiful start by JR Williams, but oh man, just everything went wrong on that first corner for final lap.
Yeah, that's a real shame for Valenzuela Uribe and Kranifus in particular. They had some big points opportunities here at the first round. Teammate Manuel Vargas has fallen down the order as the mild 7 Renault liveried Gabriel Hopp now trying to fend off Carson Keane. Easy does it coming into the final couple of corners here. Looks like Hopper up to third place from 8th. A magnificent start. Victor Couto and Cristobal Valenzuela, along with Nick Dawson-Lathan, are your hardest chargers in the field, up 7 spots each at the end of the first lap.
And after one lap, 5 cars are in pit road with 1 retirement. That's how chaotic these Super Formula starts can be.
Indeed, they are. Well, Hopper is going to go for second spot now. Victor Couto has yielded the position there. Hopper was on the overtake button. The main way you can tell when drivers are on overtake is the green light and on above the driver will be flashing. When it starts flashing red, that means they have less than 20 seconds of overtake remaining. So keep an eye out for that towards the end of the race.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, Reese. That opening lap was wild. I'm sure we'll get some replays here shortly for you guys, but right now, JR just walking away with it with a 4.5 second gap over Gabriel, excuse me. But yeah, first battle right now seems to be for third place.
Yeah, Victor Couto starting to lose time here. Carson Keane on the inside, coming into turn one, just makes contact and over the curb. Oh, that's a massive crash that's resulted. 3 cars off in the grass. Carson Keane retires from the race. So does Victor Couto, potentially some heavy damage. And that's created a huge bit of chaos here in the midfield. Vargas and Brzezowski trading places for 5th. Nick Dawson-Lathan right in the midst of all of this as well. Chaos erupting now on the 3rd lap of the race.
Oh my goodness, this is going to be the highest attrition rate I've seen in a long time in the opening 2 or 3 laps of a race.
Oh man, yeah, the sausage curb on the exit of turn 1 there was the main point of contention. That's such a shame for the driver of Victor Couto there. Looks like he managed to escape retirement, but that's added a few more retirements to the race. Carson Keane, Brett Thurman, and Jeff Groff. As we check out what happened to Cranifus at turn 1, he just spun out of the corner there, and Pablo Valenzuela Uribe had nowhere to go. Oh, that's a really interesting incident there for Blake Ziti too. Looks like he already carried that damage, and the rear suspension of the car just failed.
I think the car behind him got into him.
Oh, and Galaz losing his rear wing. Oh my lord, we didn't see that. Oh dearie me. Problem for James Langevin as well, coming out of the final corner, just taps into the barrier there, loses his nose. Dearie me. A lot of these drivers' first race start in a Super Formula car. That's what happened to Couto there. Got crossed up over the curb, and that completely destroyed the races of a few drivers.
Just small mistakes leading to big incidents.
Yeah, huge. Man, goodness me, we've got 9 cars that are out of the race at the moment. That is crazy, ridiculous. Manuel Vargas didn't have the best of starts, but he's gradually finding his way back forward here. With Neil Alexander, the driver we're riding on board with at the moment. Brett Poncari, the car ahead of him. Aero push is a bit of a point of contention in these cars through those final corners. You can't be too close to another car, otherwise the front end just washes out.
Yeah, really unfortunate opening stint for some of these drivers. Almost half the field gone within 5 laps.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The fire marshals at this circuit are busy bees right now.
Oh, that's not good there for James Langevin. It looks like he's lost his rear wing now as well. It's an old-fashioned Grand Prix car that he's driving at the moment, and I'm surprised that he hasn't served a mechanical black flag yet. Amazingly, he doesn't have a mechanical black flag to his name. So the car, according to the iRacing stewards, is not damaged enough to go back to the pits, but I would imagine Langevin is going to have to get that thing repaired shortly.
I'm curious if it's a visual glitch on the iRacing side of things, because no rear wing, I think that car would have spun out.
Yeah, no, I would say so too, but yeah, it's really weird to see James Langevin making his way around there with such a compromised car. Nick Dawson-Lathan has gone for a spin coming out of turn 1. The rookie esports number 100, I think getting crossed up over the exit curb there. Man, the most of the passes we're seeing are due to drivers crashing, but there is one overtake happening on track here. Frankie Brzezowski making his way past Cristobal Valenzuela for 4th place. We have an AM car in 2nd spot. This is amazing.
Yeah, this has been a wild opening race. I think a lot of early race jitters and nervousness going into it. But, occasionally those things do happen. And hopefully in a couple weeks' time, they'll calm down and get it sorted out.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. This is This is your typical round one, I suppose, of a series where there's a lot of rookie drivers. Dawson Lathan there just spinning coming out of turn one. Fortunately, no other cars were involved. Nick now down to 12th spot as we keep our eyes peeled on the battle between Brzezowski and Cristobal Valenzuela in the yellow and blue machine with the red wheels. For now, seems like Brzezowski has the edge, but Valenzuela, one of three cars that are current hard chargers. Most positions gained so far, up 12 for Brett Punkari, who currently sits in 8th spot. Not too far behind these guys, as we see what happened to Langevin here. Once again, spinning out of the final corner, and I think he was a bit too aggressive on the reverse there. That's what took out the rear wings, so it's not a visual glitch. He's definitely lost all of his aerodynamics, but he's still out there.
That's mighty impressive to hit the wall that hard and not have a black flag or a meatball.
Yeah. Of course, for those of you unfamiliar with racing flag terminology, the meatball is the orange circle on a black flag, and that's the signal to a driver that their car is too damaged to continue and they have to come into the pits to get it repaired. Other than that, we're not going to be seeing any pit stops from these guys. Super Formula cars cannot be refueled, and the tires will easily last the race distance. Punkari running in VR for this one, and he's got a nice snake of cars up ahead of him. He's starting to catch up to Vargas and Krauser, running 0.2 faster than Vargas on the last lap, so he is on a charge right now.
Yeah, Vargas and Krauser right now are pretty close on track, fighting it out right now with P's positions 4 and 5, Cristobal and Frankie just up the road a little bit from them. But John is running down, Manuel is running down John for that 6th position.
Yeah, right, looks like John Krauser. Yeah, John Krauser in a little bit of trouble here, trying to maintain the pace. Got to be careful to maintain the heat in the tires around this circuit. A lot of long straights here that can take the heat out of those tires. You need that heat for the final sector. Let's see what they do coming into turn one here. Doesn't look like much overtake usage for either of the two of them. Krauser versus Vargas for that 6th position on track. Krauser trying his best here to extend the gap here, and he's actually caught up to Valenzuela and Brzezowski coming into the turn 3 hairpin. Vargas, I think, losing quite a bit of time on that lap, now in danger of getting caught by Punkari.
And Krauser just locking up ever so little bit. You see trails of smoke coming off his car into the braking zones of the last 2 corners. He's going to need to be careful not to wear that tire out too much before the end of this race.
Indeed. So the battles in the top 8 have cleared away now. It doesn't look like there's much battling going on in the top 8, but Neil Alexander and Rodrigo Munoz are the ones battling for 9th position right now. Munoz getting closer, edging ever closer to Neil Alexander, but having trouble keeping the car straight and narrow through the final couple of corners. I think a bit of aerodynamic instability he's having to deal with there.
Yeah, and the biggest battle on track right now for all of these drivers, the 14 that are currently left out of the 24-car field, is the battle of the mind. When you have a lot of wrecks and DNFs because of big wrecks like that, it's easy to get into your own head, even if you weren't involved, and be like, okay, I just got to keep it clean and I'll get a good finish. Sometimes that can be your worst enemy, is your mind, and you'll end up making a mistake.
Yeah, no mistakes being made in that battle for 11th between Rodrigo Basalo and Nick Dawson-Lathan, trading places at both of the opening proper turns of this place. But it looks like they're in danger now of getting lapped by no, sorry, that's Pablo Valenzuela Uribe behind them, who's made it back out of the pits. He'll likely get a points finish here if he can get to the end. Currently 6 laps down on everyone else as this battle continues between Basalo and Dawson Lathan. Basalo with a much better run out of the corner here. He's going to go for the inside at the penultimate corner. Space will be given, but will it be enough? Oh, little bit of biffo coming through the last 2 turns there. Easy does it, everybody. You don't want to add 2 more to the ever-growing retirements list we have from this race. Rodrigo Munoz, meanwhile, in the pits. Looks like he's had to... it looks like he just drove through there. So I think that was potentially incident point penalty for him. After 13 incidents gained in PRL, you get a drive-through. At 17 incidents, you get a disqualification. So Munoz at the disadvantage here at the moment. And for now, looks like the battle between Basalo and Dawson Lathan has calmed down too, waiting for the overtake button to recharge.
Yeah, and it was a really good awareness from Rodrigo. Basalo. I didn't want to get that confused with Munoz. But yeah, Rodrigo had really good awareness when Nick was trying to pass him there, because Nick washed out just a slight little bit. And if Rodrigo did not move over a little bit extra, there would have been definite contact made and both cars could have been destroyed.
Well, mistake there for Basalo allows Valenzuela Uribe back past the man who started on pole position. It's not for position, still running down in 16th spot. Things are starting to gear up between excuse me, Manuel Vargas and John Krause. Vargas, of course, the driver with most positions lost of the drivers on the lead lap, down 4 after unfortunately bottling the standing start, but catching up to Krause and Valenzuela ahead.
Yeah, Krauser. I don't know what I was thinking there, but yeah, he's running that traditional Marlboro-looking paint scheme that you used to see in the old days of Formula One. I like it. It's distinctive, and it's easy to spot in the crowd.
Yeah, indeed. Red and white, eternal color combination there. Vargas, though, in the final lap sim racing team liveried machine, making ground in the entry to turn 1. And he's not. Is he on overtake? No, he's recharging. You see the light on the steering wheel there, those 3 purple lights blinking slowly. He's on recharge at the moment. Has to wait 120 seconds, I believe, is the time that they have to wait before they can get access to that extra power again. So much strategy involved with the use of the extra power in these cars.
Yeah, it's really crazy to me, honestly, because if you use it at the wrong time, you basically ruin any chance of getting an overtake done, because you have to wait almost another lap and a half at this particular track to be able to use it again.
Yeah, very short laps here at the Red Bull Ring. Around about 73, 74 seconds is your average race pace at the moment. JR Williams has ballooned his lead out to 9 seconds. Gabriel Hopper still holding on to P2, but it is on now for P5. Cristobal Valenzuela in trouble. John Krause on the overtake button, using that extra power to get up the inside, coming into turn 3. And Manuel Vargas will wait and sit with bated breath to see if he can get a chance to move on through. That was a good move there from John Krause. Got the move done nicely.
Yeah, it was a great move there. Overtake really showing the power difference down the straightaway. And it was a clean pass to boot.
Yeah, lovely clean pass indeed. So now Cristobal Valenzuela has to turn his attention behind him to this man, Manuel Vargas, who's got a fantastic run through the fast corners in the middle of the lap. Not quite close enough for a move at the final few corners, but I think if he keeps this run up, he'll be able to get up the inside into turn one very nicely. He's got overtake available to him, but doesn't look like he's using it. He's saving that extra power for a bit later on in the race. We're almost at the halfway point, and now's the time when the drivers who are left will be in their rhythm. Here we go. Look at that.
On the overtake.
He is indeed. Is he going to get close enough to get the move into turn three? Valenzuela will give him space on the inside, but sometimes if you're on the outside of the hairpin, you can get the best run possible. The track's a bit flatter on the exit on the outside there, so Valenzuela was able to hold on to the position, but the run is still there for for Manuel Vargas, sorry, and he gets up the inside, gets the move done, up into 6th place.
That was another brilliant move there from Manuel, getting around Cristobal through that corner, coming through the infield section of the track, the most technical part of the track. Got to be careful not to get too much on that curbing on the right side there, coming through there, because if you hit that gravel, it's going to shoot you off into the wall.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this being a Formula One circuit, there's plenty of runoff to contend with, but if you have an off at very high speed, not even a huge runoff area will save you. So Valenzuela now trying to chase down Vargas and get that position back. Vargas wants to try and catch up to Krauser, but it seems like he didn't get the best of runs there out of turn one. And he'll continue to battle with Cristobal. Currently running 4th is Cristobal in the AM class. Krauser, ever since he made that move, has just gone on an absolute charge at the moment. It seems like these guys can't do anything to catch up to him.
And I know this is a great battle to watch right now, Reese, but the fight for P2 is on. Mark has run down Gabriel, and he's there. He's ready to pounce.
Yep, getting ready to gear up a move is McDonald on Gabriel Hopper. Gabriel, of course, running another retro livery. Love seeing that Renault blue and yellow. That's one of my favorite liveries of all time. But into turn one, we'll see what the exit's like. Just running over the anti-cut curb on the outside turn one. He seems to have the acceleration down pat, but you see that McDonald is continuing to gear up here. Ran 0.2 faster than Gabriel on the last lap, and it seems like the number 29 may be in trouble here.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of time. Gabriel had a slight lock up into that last corner, ran a little bit wide, managed to stay ahead into the infield section here. But I think Mark is just biding his time, taking it easy, doesn't want to force the issue, knowing he has a great finish ahead of him.
Yeah, indeed. McDonald will get P2 in the pro class, but he'll want to make this move on Gabriel Hopper. They might be in different classes, but they are competing for overall points in this series. There's no point separation between AM and pro. They're all competing for the same points here. And look at that. Yep, he's on it. Extra power coming in to turn one. He's got to nail the exit if he gets the move done. Lovely stuff.
Yeah, it's a brilliant move from Mark, waiting for the right moment to strike. He picked it correctly, and he's still on the overtake, and he's trying to pull away and gap Gabriel as much as possible to avoid any kind of fight back.
Yeah,
looks like he's off of it now, but yeah, job well done from both drivers. Keep it clean. They both know that they're on the podium, and they have great finishes ahead of them. The mind games, don't make any silly mistakes, boys.
Yeah, exactly. Especially for Gabriel, because Well, he ran a 13.6 on the previous lap. It was a 13.3 from Frankie Brzezowski, who just popped into the frame there in the background. Frankie trying his best to catch up to this battle and potentially get onto the podium by the end of the race. There's still plenty of this race to go. Only on lap 19 now for our leader, JR Williams, who has continued to just strut his stuff out the front of the field. 10 seconds is the gap, and I think even with a big pace advantage, McDonald might not be able to make up that gap.
Yeah, without using the overtake button, the draft is very strong in these cars, especially with all the straightaways. So your best bet is to have a better infield section. But, you know, right now, you see McDonald on the recharge, and Gabriel just right there, waiting for him to make a mistake so he can pounce.
Yep, there's still a lot of potential for Gabriel to get the move done there, as there's a trade for position now between Nick Dawson-Lathan and Neil Alexander. That's for 9th position at the moment. Both of them working their way through the hairpin cleanly. Neil Alexander not quite done, though. He's going to try and shuffle Lathan wide, psychologically at the very least, and try and get that move back. For the time being, it doesn't look like we have much more to dissect in that battle. Lathan on the recovery after he had some troubles early on.
Yeah, just had that little self-spin out of turn 1. Fortunately for him, no damage. And he is currently sitting P10 as Neil Alexander gets it wrong out of the final corner.
Oh, no.
Manages to hold on to it with quick braking action. So just scuffing the tires a little bit, keeps it going, pointed in the right direction.
Indeed he does. Yeah, the battles are really ebbing and flowing now, aren't they? And further up the field, things are starting to come into the favor of Manuel Vargas. He's gotten his pace on ever since passing Cristobal Valenzuela. And John Krauser has lost a bit of time over the last few laps. He now sees the final lap racing team car filling his mirrors as they come up to the still heavily damaged car of James Langevin. This is the pace difference between aero and not, and that's actually held up Krauser a little bit. That's a bit awkward for these three. I'm surprised that Langevin still hasn't come into the pits. He's not going to lose any positions if he decides to get in and get that car repaired.
Well, he shouldn't, depending on how long it takes to repair the car. I don't know exactly everything that's wrong with it other than the wings, but you would think he wouldn't lose any positions. However, John Krauser was on the radio to James, not happy with him running the racing line with them coming through.
Yeah, and it's understandable. I mean, with as heavily damaged as Langevin is, a huge pace difference in the fast corners, so it'd be difficult to come up on a car like that, especially at the final 2 corners, which are blind on entry. So that's cost them all a little bit of time, and they'll have to wait for a lap or 2 before they can heat things up again and have the battle that we are expecting from them. For the time being, though, it doesn't look like any lapped cars in the way of these guys. Frankie Brzezowski is still sitting in 4th place, and these guys have been running a little bit slower than him over the course of the last lap. This is a lap in clear air for these three. Brzezowski sets a 13.0. Krauser, meanwhile, 13.1 and a 12.9 for Manuel Vargas. So Vargas in the 52 on the charge here. He doesn't use overtake coming onto the front straight. Looks like he's still on recharge at the moment. Yep. And actually both of them on recharge right now.
Yeah, and another little lock up there from John Krauser with that right front tire going into that corner. Yeah, it takes forever at a track like Red Bull Ring for these cars to get their overtake abilities back. And it just seems like it just drags on for laps and laps, but it's what, 100 seconds to get the recharge done? If I'm not mistaken, Reese?
Yeah, it's about 1.5 laps or thereabouts. Yeah, and depending on where you are on the circuit, when you use that push to pass, then you're probably going to be waiting upwards of 2 laps or more for your next opportunity to use it. And I think now in this battle between Krauser and Vargas, Manuel has to be careful with where he uses it. If he doesn't have a 100% certainty of making the move, he won't use push to pass. He'll sit behind, he'll make sure that he's truly in position. He is on it indeed. He senses the opportunity here at turn 3, but Krauser, it seems, running a little bit less downforce than some of the other drivers here as Vargas tries up the inside anyway. Krauser going to run wide there. Vargas slows up quite a bit in the hairpin, and that's a wasted opportunity right there.
Indeed it is. I think the best opportunity would have been for Manuel to get on the overtake out of the final corner, so that way he had 3 straightaways to use it instead of just the one that he was on before getting it a little bit wrong into turn 3.
Yep, so another few laps I think we'll have to wait for that move to be made. This is the only battle on track where the cars are within a second of each other. We're just waiting and looking at lap time charts to see who's on the charge at the moment. JR Williams is uncatchable at the front of the field right now. 16 seconds is the gap now to Mark McDonald. It seems that even though McDonald was faster than Gabriel Hopper, not quite able to match the pace of JR.
Yeah, Mark McDonald up 9 positions, so didn't have the best of qualifying runs. But out of 14 cars currently on track, 3 of which are laps down. So 11 cars on the lead lap. I mean, to find yourself up 9 spots and in second place, that's a good day.
Yeah, absolutely. Really fantastic running from the drivers that have survived thus far. McDonald has no pressure in front or behind. He's continuing to gap Gabriel Hopper lap on lap. Though having said that, Hopper, I think, used overtake on the last lap and was the fastest car on track that time by.
Yeah, and just a few corners ago, Krauser got a little bit into the gravel that allows Manuel to creep back in.
Yeah, certainly does. This will be the next opportunity that Manuel is looking for, and you see how much he took out of the exit of the final corner there. That's a nice little gain for the number 52, trying to get into the top 5. This, remember, he started in 3rd spot, so in terms of laps, in terms of 1 lap pace, Manuel Vargas, one of the best placed at the moment. But yeah, it all came down to that start as Pablo Valenzuela Uribe, many laps down by this point, takes the fastest lap of the race, so at least he'll get a point for that. But you got to think, how would you be if you were in Pablo's position? It's really heartbreaking to have any chance of a result dashed coming out of the first corner.
Frustrated. That's how he is. He's frustrated. The 1 point isn't really going to make him feel a whole lot better at the end of the day after starting top 3, or he was on pole, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he started starting pole position, so actually that'll be an extra point for him as well. But still, it's got to be gut-wrenching to go out in the first corner like that. I mean, did nothing wrong, just wrong place, wrong time, and unfortunate circumstances all around. So it really cuts into your mentality and motivation moving forward.
Yeah, certainly does. But remember, it's still early goings in the season. We have plenty of racing to go with a few drop rounds besides. Battle now here for 3rd. Gabriel Hopper losing a lot of time. Frankie Brzezowski on a charge right now, getting up the inside at turn 4, but he can't get it done immediately. Hopper is going to defend here, coming into the sweepers side by side between the 2 AM class leaders. They're battling for the AM class win here.
Yeah, brilliant side-by-side action for the win in amateur class. Gonna duck out going into the second to last corner here. And backed out of it just at the last moment. Oh, what brilliant stuff. And Reese, I was looking at this just a minute ago. I don't know if it was pointed out yet or not, but there, out of 14 cars on track right now, are only 3 pro drivers running. Everyone else is amateur.
Yeah, a big attrition in the pro class here, and I hope that the drivers will stick with the season from here. If you have a bad round one, it can be very demotivating, but oh, have a look at this, round the outside of the hairpin. And, well, I mentioned it earlier, flatter exit, better run out of the corner if you're on the outside. Brzezowski now trying to get it done here, and it looks like he might, but he's off the racing line. And now Gabriel Hopper will try and get the position back, but Brzezowski on the inside coming into the left-handers. Oh, a little bit crossed up there for Gabriel Hopper, who's making adjustments to the wheel mid-corner. That's going to secure the move for Frankie Brzezowski. Now in the AM class lead, 3rd overall.
That was a great fight. Gabriel, I'm sure, is not done with him yet. Still wants another crack at him. May opt to use the overtake here to try and get back around him. Nope, that light stays solid. Actually, Frankie is on the overtake right now.
Yeah, oh, Manuel Vargas, I think, having a bit of an issue himself. He briefly got past John Krauser, I saw on my timing screen, but he is now back behind again and actually losing the position to Cristobal Valenzuela as well.
Brett Pancari going for a pass on him right now, too.
Yeah, what has happened here to Manuel Vargas?
Both drivers on the overtake. We'll have to go back and see if we can find a replay of what happened to Manuel.
Yeah, that's the second final lap car there is Pablo Valenzuela Uribe, 6 laps down. It's not going to be for position, but I don't expect his teammate to hold him up all that much. Maybe Valenzuela will back off a little bit and allow Vargas a chance to get back past Pancari, who has the most positions gained in the whole field. You know, Pancari started dead last, remember? So qualifying did not go his way, but this race has been all about survival, and he has survived some of the best of anyone.
And even with such attrition, Reese, we're down to 4 laps to go. So this race has still gone by really fast. I mean, there's been a lot more action than I anticipated with all the carnage, but Manuel lining up a move on Brett Pancari going into turn 1.
And will he get it done is the question. Pancari gives him space on the inside and runs over the curb to keep the position. Beautiful stuff from Pancari. He's absorbing this pressure like a sponge, but Vargas now with the slipstream up the inside into the hairpin. Can he get it done? Pancari will try to hold it. He is clear indeed, but will Pancari have a chance to fight back? The second final lap car, Valenzuela Uribe, is right in the midst of all of that as well. He is laps down on these guys, but he is going to fight and help his teammate here.
Yeah, that is a teammate move right there. Get into the way and help your teammate get away.
Yeah, well executed.
Not going to like that very much.
No, certainly not. I'm wondering if the stewards at PRL are going to have anything to say about that. But regardless, Pancari losing a lot of time now. Meanwhile, Brzezowski still ahead of Gabriel Hopper and on push to pass. Hopper used push to pass last lap to try and catch up to him at this very turn, but it was unsuccessful. And look who is on the scene again, James Langevin.
Had to check up.
Yeah,
Frankie had to check up big time.
Absolutely did. But it seems like ultimately he hasn't lost much time to Gabriel in the midst of all of that, and this should be a nice, easy move for Gabriel to get past the, well, effectively a Lotus 49 now of James Langevin. Oh, Vargas has had an issue. Vargas has spun at the turn 3 hairpin. Oh, that's a real shame for Manuel. He had gotten the position over Pancari, but losing it by himself coming through the slow corner as Neil Alexander and Ty Dunnett now go side by side, and they're struggling to put the power down in those turbo inline 4-cylinder engines.
Yeah, it's very easy with these high-powered units to get wheel spin. And Gabriel in the pit.
Oh dear. Okay. I'm thinking that might be an incident limit issue for Gabriel Hopper. I don't expect that he would stop in the pits at all. He's undamaged and he's just toured through. Yeah, he exceeded 13 incidents. As the battle continues between Dunnett and Alexander into the final couple of corners here. Dunnett up the inside will get it done on Neil Alexander.
Yeah, Neil Alexander wanted no part of that, just opted to back out with Ty sending it in on him.
Another problem for Vargas as well coming out of the final turn there.
Oh, it is all going wrong for Manuel right now.
Yeah, falling apart right at the end. It is the it is the final lap though for J.R. Williams, our leader in the number 13. Still plenty of positions to be finalized with Krauser and Valenzuela now back together, with Vargas no longer a part of the picture in this battle for 4th overall. Frankie Brzezowski has 5 seconds on these guys, so your AM podium at the very least is going to be decided in the favor of Frankie Brzezowski. But as the white flag flies, these guys will know this is their last chance to make up places.
Honestly, I forgot J.R. Williams was out there. He'd flown away from everybody.
Yeah, he certainly did. He has been under no pressure whatsoever in this race. It just fell into his hands as Nick Dawson-Lathan goes and gets the fastest lap of the race in his pursuit of Brett Pancari. But
battle for P5, P4, Cristobal making a move on John Krauser.
Yep, around the outside will almost get it done. J.R. Williams crosses the line at the front of the field to win the first round of PRL Super Formula for 2024 Season 3, but it is on for 4th place here. Cristobal Valenzuela getting the move done on John Krauser. Celebration for J.R. Williams, a dominant victory in a race of survival. Beautiful stuff from the number 13, but bumper to bumper, diffuser to front wing between John Krauser and Cristobal Valenzuela. Cristobal's going to hold on to it and get 4th place in the end. A brilliant battle to end things off there. Gabriel Hopper, meanwhile, oh my lord, look at that! Side by side between Nick Dawson-Lathan and Brett Pancari, and sliding, trying to recover the car out of the corner there. And that's a slowdown for Dawson-Lathan out of the final corner. He's going to give 7th place to Pancari.
Oh, what an unfortunate turn of events.
That's
Brilliant.
That's got to sting.
Made. Yeah. Brilliant job making the pass on Brett Pancari, and then just had to give it back.
And news for John Krauser as well. He has been demoted to 11th place because that little bit of contact between himself and Valenzuela put him over the incident limit. Man.
Oh, no.
Yeah, what a race from J.R. Williams, though. 19 seconds ahead of his nearest competitor, takes the win of the first round of the season. McDonald's second. Frankie Brzezowski will take the AM class win ahead of Cristobal Valenzuela. Gabriel Hopper will be classified in 5th place ahead of Pancari, and Dawson-Lathan, who holds the fastest lap of the race, will get that extra point. Now, Manuel Vargas, man, he was on for a top 5 for sure, but just couldn't keep the car under him. Ty Dunnett and Neil Alexander will round out the top 10. Krauser, with that incident limit exceeding, classified 11th place and last car on the lead lap. James Langevin, carrying the torch for the damaged cars, completed practically the whole race without either of his wings. Finishes 12th ahead of Brett Thurman and our pole sitter, Pablo Valenzuela Uribe, who is the last finisher. Rodrigo Basalo, unfortunately, retiring. Same for Rodrigo Munoz as well. Victor Couto, Carson Keene, Jeff Groff, all out on the 3rd lap or so. and rounded out by Nicholas Colander, Hugo Galaz, Daniel Cranifus, Blake Ziti, Kyle Bowersock not taking to the start. Oh dear. Wow, what a chaotic first race of PRL Super Formula for 2024 Season 3, but rising above it all was JR Williams. A win on the board in the first round. JR joining us now in the broadcast booth. It was certainly a matter of survival.
I got a good start, and then we went into turn one. I saw that the guys behind me that I was going to be battling with kind of crashed into each other. From there on, is really just kind of managing and keeping it between the lines and keeping it safe.
Yeah, exactly. You weren't under much pressure at all, but still running fantastic pace. So this first round of the season going as perfectly as it could for you, at least. Looking through the rest of the schedule, there's plenty of tracks that are new for this series. I think Hungaroring's one of the only ones returning from last season, but we go to Misano for the next round of the championship, the polar opposite to the Red Bull Ring.
For sure, and I have not raced at all on that track. I've done like a handful of laps, but not much experience. So it'll be a learning curve. I think we all get to kind of start from scratch, which will be nice.
Yeah, certainly, and I think for competition's sake, you'll be hoping for more finishes at the Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli, because it seems like, considering the pace of the likes of Pablo, it's going to be a very competitive season.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Pablo is very, very quick. His queue time was really good, and I think he's going to be a guy to watch for all season.
Indeed. Well, thanks very much for joining us, JR. Maximum race finish points for you from this round. Missing out on the bonuses for pole and fastest lap, but still, you should have the championship lead coming out of round one.
All right, thank you, guys.
JR Williams in the number 13, your race winner. Second place on the road. Frankie, I've just dragged in the wrong driver there. My apologies. We'll bring in Mark McDonald, second place on the road, for an interview with Mark Kalin.
Well, Mark, it was a privilege watching you guys up here in the booth this evening. Chaos ensued on lap one at the start of the race. Kind of walk us through what you saw and how you got through it so cleanly.
Well, first, Mark, Hugo, Reese, great to see you guys. Great to talk with you guys. Had an absolute blast. Huge shout out to PRL for a great race and putting on such a great series. Mark, I have no idea what happened at the start. I closed my eyes coming out of turn one, and then I braked into turn three. That was absolute chaos, which we kind of knew was going to happen. Unfortunately, took out my teammate Dan, who worked really, really hard preparing and getting ready, and really kind of brought me up to speed. And then he stayed around and coached me through the as a spotter basically through the entire race. So I appreciate him and Nick Colander both hanging around and talking me through it. But my race is a story of lap 1 and then 3 or whatever. The couple of guys got into trouble coming out of 1 themselves. Basically my race was like avoid the first lap incident, run around a little bit, avoid that incident out of the first corner, and then I literally just kind of ran around. I was able to chase down Gabriel, but really at that point I knew he was in the AM class and I'm in the pro class, I guess, so I wasn't going to press it if it didn't make sense, and just kind of had a clean race was my goal, and that's what I did. So I'm absolutely really stoked with a second place out of it, and really glad to be back chatting with you guys. But from my seat, I'm shocked from this result because I was a P11. I got an off track on my fast lap on my qualifying. So I'm really excited to have this kind of finish. Great start to the season.
Well, it turns out that Jesus took the wheel and helped you out for a second place finish.
Yeah, good guy, this Jesus. I hear about him.
Mark, would it surprise you to learn that only 2 pro class drivers finished on the lead lap and that being you and JR Williams?
It 100% will, and does surprise me. But I do have to say, hats off to JR. We were chatting ahead of the round, and I think it was Nick. He was like, "This guy's fast in everything he drives. How is that possible? It takes me like a solid day and a half worth of practice to get acclimated to a car, and for him, he seems to like jump into 12 different cars and just crush it."
Yeah, JR is a talented driver for sure. Well, Mark, it sounds like you shouted out a couple people. Is there anyone else you want to give thanks to for your awesome race tonight?
I think just big thanks to especially Dan Cranefoos. Does our liveries, which look awesome this season. He does he did a ton of practice and like really got to the knowledge for the team for this car, and then kind of brought me and Nick up to speed, at least me up to speed, and I really owe it to him, especially too for hanging around. After a first lap incident like that, a lot of guys are steamed and want to get out of there, but he was like, no, I'm gonna stay and talk you through it. So I really appreciate that, because otherwise it would have been kind of a lonely race, 10 seconds back from JR the entire time. But I really appreciate him and Nick for joining me in this. I really appreciate everyone at PRL and everyone at RaceSpot putting on such a great show, and I'm super excited and looking forward to the season. I honestly have no idea where we go next. I think next weekend is off for 4th of July, but then wherever we go next, I'm excited to get to learn that track with this car too.
Well, Mark, we're certainly excited to see you get back up on the podium in the future. Next, in 2 weeks' time, it's at Misano World Circuit. So get your practice in, and hopefully we'll be talking to you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know that one, so we'll see. But also, I do want to just shout out, this entire field, top 10, top 11 or whatever, was separated by less than a half a second. Fantastic job for the first race of the season. I'm excited for everyone as we go through it. Talk to you guys soon. Take care.
Take it easy, Mark. And
brilliant stuff.
Reese, I believe you got Frankie standing by.
Indeed I do. Frankie Brzezowski has the M class victory for today and an overall 3rd place finish. Frankie, that was a tough race for many drivers in this field, but once again you were one of the drivers who rose above it all.
Yeah. Thank you. I knew going into the Red Bull Ring it was one of my stronger tracks. I just tried to have a good qualifying session. I think on the first lap I spun on turn 1 and wrecked, so that didn't start off very well. And then during the race I just managed to keep it clean and consistent, and yeah.
Indeed. It was a very tight battle with the likes of Gabriel Hopper and Cristobal Valenzuela throughout the course of the race. Overtake was very important here.
Yep. Yeah. I on the straights after turn 1, I tried to use it. I knew it was about 10 seconds of overtake per lap, and then cool down. So every other lap, I'm going to use about 10 seconds, and I knew I had about 18 seconds worth of overtake. So I just tried to use it to catch up and put the pressure on, and just hope for some mistakes.
Well, it's a great schedule for this series. Have you taken a look at the schedule, and are there any tracks that jump out to you as ones that you may be successful at?
Honestly, I haven't raced on 4 of the tracks, so I'll keep an eye out. And I think next week is a break week, so I'll just do some practicing for week 3 and see how things go.
Yeah, indeed. Well, congratulations once again on the 3rd overall and AM P1 finish, Frankie. Hopefully we get a chance to chat to you next round.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Frankie Brzezowski, final driver interview for tonight here. The GR86 and MX-5 series went off, so did Super Formula. If you're interested in seeing the rest of the schedule here, mark these dates into your calendar. We are off next week for the 4th of July weekend. Fuji International Speedway, the 3rd round of the championship. I get the feeling with all of the nerves being shaken out here at round 1, Mark, we're going to see some great racing at future rounds.
Oh, I have to agree completely. However, Reese, I don't know if it's going to be a good 4th of July, because it seems all the fireworks went off tonight.
Yeah, there probably won't be much of a budget left for fireworks in cities around America, considering how chaotic that first round at the Red Bull Ring was. Well, we want to thank you all for tuning in to this first week of racing at the Precision Racing League for 2024 Season 3. Ultimately, J.R. Williams, the one to come away with Super Formula honours. I'm Reese Gardner, Mark Kalin with me in the commentary box, Hugo Luis behind the scenes, pressing all the buttons and bringing you these live pictures. From all of us here at RaceSpotTV, we say thank you to the Precision Racing League's partners, and thank you to you all for watching. We'll see you next time.